So this is my first video in months, but I thought I would speak on this topic without being distracted by anything else, and that's indies. Now, I was there at the moment that a certain indie developer that will not be named was pretty upset that I guess his game didn't sell on PlayStation. But I just want everybody to understand, just because he was upset and just because his game didn't sell does not mean that indies are not loved by the PlayStation community or PlayStation themselves. I'm just going to go over the indies that I have selected, that are a part of my lineup that I paid for. I went out, found out about them, paid for. Some day one, some I didn't find out about until later, and then I went out and paid for. The Kuna of Rise and Ruin, which was my latest one. Brawl Out, which I have found out about this game when it was exclusive to the Nintendo Switch and PC. And as soon as it was on PlayStation, I picked it up day one. Tim, I had been following this game since it was in Kickstarter phase. And I think the early beta test was on PC, but once they opened up the early access for the PS5, I quickly went out and got it. Loved it, put a shitload of hours into this game. Great game. Another game, found out about this game. I think it was available on PC and Switch. And then when it came over to PS4, I went out and picked it up day one. I had been a part of the Kickstarter. I donated a little bit of money for this game. It got delayed. It was only going to be on PlayStation and PC. They extended the Kickstarter goal. I think they put it on Switch and Xbox as well. I did end up picking a game up with them like $20-something when I picked it up. Mean Greens. This game was on PC for 7 years before it went to PS4 and I believe Xbox. I went out, picked it up as soon as it was available. Evo Land, this game again started on PC years before it came to PS4. Went out, picked it up. Xenomon, another game, started on cell phones, then went to PC. I had found out about it late. I didn't even know it was on PS4. And again, my background is deeply rooted with Nintendo, so this game is very similar to Pokemon. I went out, picked it up, love the art style, love the combat. So these are the indie games I picked out. These are games that I picked for just different reasons that I play, whether it's nostalgia or pretty much nostalgia. You know, this one I picked up because I want a good Japanese RPG, like classic style. So this is one. I have not started to play it yet, but I did pick it up. So these are just my indie picks right here. These are 8 indies. I have many more. If you know me, you know I have a deep respect for indie developers. We don't have them on our show because I don't want to make this is a show where, hey, we got a superstar on the show every fucking episode. No, this is gaming. We keep it gaming. We support their games. I talk to them a lot on Twitter. I let them know, hey, whenever you're ready to bring that game over to PS4, you know you already have my money. Shit like that. I keep track of a lot of indie developers on Twitter. They're the future. You know, they make games that some of the other bigger studios will just never make. And this is what I like about them. So, let me just go over here to the PlayStation Store, which we're already here. Let me show you how it's set up. So this is how it's set up right now. Now, sometimes when it's set up, it's easier to find the indie section or the indie games, right? But if you definitely want to find indie games, then you're definitely going to search for it. So the developer was like, hey, it's so hard to find the indies, blah, blah, blah. You know, it costs this much money to promote your game in a top spot. Obviously, you know, that goes for a game store or a toy store or a grocery store. If you want your product to be at the front of the fucking store, in the window, or as soon as you go through the doors on a grocery store, you're going to have to pay for that area. Nothing in this country is free. Nothing in any country is free. So for him to say that thing right there kind of triggered me, because it's like, in any establishment, you're going to have to pay to be in front of the line, if that's what you want to sell. So we got the must-see section, right? And then we got the what's hot, pre-orders, featured, And we got to expand your games that I've played and they think that I would want some DLC for, and then to see more, right? So we go up, discover, these are the most anticipated games. Among these most anticipated games, there is a high quality indie game on here, and that would be Hades, which is already a winner of so many awards. So again, among the most anticipated game, there is a indie game among them. So, and actually, this is another one. Tribes of Midgard. This is another smaller indie game. So if that's not enough, you go up here, right next to latest, you're going to see collections. When you see collections, you scroll on down. You see Discovery, monthly picks, upgraded for PS5, most anticipated, which we've already went over. Great LGBTQ plus games. And then when you scroll down here to curated by PlayStation, you first come into contact with Editor's Choice, which if you click on it, you probably will see some indies. Then you have horror, Japanese RPGs, indies, which is big. Then you have Amazing Heroines, and what's with that? and then you have fighting, right? So indie is big, Editor's Choice is big. Obviously, our focus here is indies. We will go back to Editor's Choice to see what's in there, but we already know what's in indies. I'm just gonna tell you, like, this is just my opinion. All of this stuff is my opinion when it comes to indies. What games I'm about to talk about that I like. Other people might not like any games that I'm about to show off, and that's perfectly fine. But obviously, top on that list that is pre-ordered and 50 days away is Kenna. Fell in love with that the same fucking moment I saw the first trailer. It was an automatic day one buy. The game is only $40. The digital deluxe is $50. I expect all PlayStation gamers to pick it up. If you like those type of higher end graphics, even though it's an indie, you definitely need to pick it up. Now, we got another, again, high graphic indie title, and that is Mortal Shell. The game is 35% off right now. It is $19.49. After tax, it'll be like $20. I'm thinking about picking that game up just for the fuck of it. So we have all these other indies here. There's some stuff in the pre-orders, but I'm gonna have to show you the stuff I'm following. I don't see them here, but these are the indies right here. So among all of these, I have Kenna pre-ordered. Bugsnax is already in my library, but I have not played it. I picked up Haven when I found out about this. This is another indie. It couldn't fit on the list of 8 games that I have on my my cross media bar. They're telling me I got downloaded again, but I don't understand that because it's in my library. So it's Tim. Again, you already know. That's downloaded. Pokemon style game. Pathless. I have that through Son of Sam. This is an indie title. 13 Sentinels. I also have this through Son of Sam Game Share. I have some other indies. It's just I can't fit everything on my page. But those are the indies. If we go to Editor's Choice before we go to my library, you see some other indies. Now, up until House Marquee was acquired, Returnal was an indie game. Yes, it was commissioned to be created by PlayStation, but it used to be created by an indie developer. Now that developer is not indie. Now, before the acquisition, I was a very big fan and still am of House Marquee. I picked up every single one of those games. And because they were not owned by PlayStation or anybody else, they were indie developers. I supported the majority of their whole catalog. So probably like over 7 or 8 games I picked up day one all the time. I like their style of game. I was a big supporter, still am. Bugsnax, we already know that's an indie. I would guess this is a indie as well. I would just guess. Paper Beast, that's an indie. We don't call Dreams an indie, but there are a lot of indie developers that go on Dreams to make projects. So it is not an indie game, but the projects being created in Dreams is really, really crazy. So if you love indie developers, this would probably be one of those games you want to pick up. And yes, I do have a platinum for that. So we're just scrolling down. There's tons of indies here, and this is Editor's Choice. So among the Editor's Choice, there's tons of indies. Disco Elysium, which was exclusive to PC, ended up coming over to PS4. This is another indie title. So again, tons of indie games, whether it's in Editor's Choice or in the indie section. Now, there's another section, and that section would be, let me go see. The Coming Soon, that's where. So in the Coming Soon section, which there are indie games that are promoted inside the Coming Soon before you go to the View All. So that would be Foreclosed, Endless Dungeon, Heavenly Bodies, Fist, which I'm really excited about. Nor, also excited about. You guys know how I love food and video games, and it's a video game about food. So I'm definitely picking that up. That's a day one. Solar Ash, and Among Us. So again, in the Coming Soon section, it's right underneath Editor's Choice and Indies, which talk about indies and show off indies. There's another section, again, the Coming Soon section, where you can't pre-order some of these games, but they're already announced and you can find out about them, look at pictures and videos. And there's a ton of indies here. So this is where I would be showing you off the games that I have on my wish list and I'm following. So Mayhem Brawlers, I believe this to be an indie title. This is a day one for me. Whenever it drops, I'm picking it up. I love the art style, love the action. This is a day one, right? So that's an indie. Of course, you got Stray. I know Sam's gonna pick that up. Not a big cat guy, I'm more of a dog guy. But I do love the art style. Who knows? I might end up picking this shit up. It looks like it's going to be funny with the cat. Little Devil Inside, that's a day one. Don't know where it's at. I'm hearing some speculation that it will be dropped towards the end of the month. I hope that is true. I hope the game is ready because I want to play it. This one I'm gonna spend a lot of time on. Fist. I've known about Fist for probably going on 3 years now. I found out about it at the China Joy, and I'm looking at these visuals and I'm like, this shit looks really, really good. I really, really need this game. I cannot wait to play it. I want it. It's definitely a day one. I can't wait. So that's another indie that I'm really interested in. Obviously, you already know about Nor. Play With Your Food. Now, this game was supposed to be launching with the PS5, but it didn't make the launch. This is a day one for obvious reasons. This is definitely a day one. I cannot wait to play this weird, fun game. Let me see. I don't know about Solar Ash. I need to see a little bit more. I'm probably not gonna get Among Us. I was thinking about it, but I don't think I am. But these are just some of the games in the Coming Soon that are indies that I'm very interested in and I'm following. I probably am gonna follow this. This is Urban Trials Tricky. This seems to be an indie game as well. It looks like it's gonna be fun. It looks fun. Who knows? I might end up picking this shit up just for the fuck of it. So, again, I'm a much bigger indie supporter than others. I know one other guy much bigger than myself when it comes to supporting indie games, and that would be Jack Move Johnny. Not only has he purchased tons of indie games, he's platinum tons of indie games and 100%ed a lot of indie games. Big supporter of indie titles. Big supporter of indie titles. So, it's weird that just one developer has a bad experience with their game not being found on PlayStation Store, possibly due to the quality of the game. And just looking at a resume of his games that are coming out fairly soon, it seems like most of his games are not even going to be on PlayStation. So I don't understand why he would think PlayStation will move his one game to the front of a line when he doesn't put any of the other games that he's coming out with on PlayStation. So I've looked at the catalog of games that are coming out this year for that studio, from that developer, and they're going to Switch and they're going to PC, or I think one might go to cell phone, and then there's one that is going to be on Switch, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. But outside of that, no other games that developer is coming out with are going to be on PlayStation. I don't think we're missing anything. But again, you can't ask to be pushed to the front of the line when you don't really have that many games that you're offering PlayStation. So again, it seems like the person is just pretty pissed off that people don't want to play or buy his game. When you're on social media, you get more attention for your game than you would on the PlayStation Store, so people might actually be able to find your game. I know that majority of the indie games I talked about, where I had found out about them afterwards, or I had found out the history that they were on PC and then they were on their way to PlayStation, I found out about all of that on Twitter. You know, there's been tons of games where I've found out about the status of those games coming to PlayStation on PlayStation from Twitter, talking to the developers. So again, if there's a game people really want, they're going to go out and buy it. You're on social media. That helps a lot. But if you don't have a good game, you shouldn't expect it to be selling a lot. So if you're pissed off about the PlayStation community not supporting your game, maybe you should make a little bit of a better game. You know, I'm not trashing on the developer or the studio, but again, I saw the game and it doesn't look like something that would interest me. But again, we all have different tastes. I think that the rest of the PlayStation community has spoken with their wallets, and that's why this person went on an angry tirade about things that are wrong with PlayStation.